Today, I'm really excited to share an interview with my first ever paying client into my business of coaching program, Lorraine Eivers. She has been a joy to work with. I feel so blessed that she was my first ever paying client, as she has honestly supported me as much as I have supported her over the past 4 and a bit years. So I hope you enjoy listening to her learnings over the past 4.5 years of building her business. Hi, Lorraine. I'm super excited you are here today as my first business of coaching client. September 2021, over 4 years ago, in my business of coaching program, my first paying client into that program. So I'm really excited to share with the listeners today your full journey from starting out to where you are now over 4 years in. So do tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Lorraine Eivers. I'm a career coach and mentor for HR leaders. I've recently relocated from Ayr in Scotland to the Algarve in Portugal, an ex-HRD with over 3 decades experience within various HR roles and types of organisations until I burnt out and then pivoted to self-employment at the ripe old age of 57. And I now work exclusively one-to-one. I offer job search support, I offer a 90-minute career clinic, and my signature Gain Career Clarity program. So I get to see firsthand what's happening out there in the HR market. I've experienced that myself over those 30 years. So I have that empathy for what my clients are going through and tailor my services to support where they are on their particular journey. I'm also recently the author of 2 journals. I created a specific gratitude journal for people on the job search journey, and then went on to create a daily gratitude journal as well that anybody can use.
So take us back then to when you joined the business of coaching program. Tell us what was going on for you at that time.
Well, I wasn't in a good place, Joe. As I said, I burnt out at the end of my career, complete crash and burn. Had to go through therapy to get myself back to a sense of myself. And I had previously qualified as a career coach with the idea of using that in the workplace. And I saw your adverts and I thought, that is just exactly what I am needing, because whilst I'm qualified to coach and I'd been informally coaching friends and family, I knew nothing about running a business. So that's what really attracted me to the business of coaching, that you were going to take us step by step in a methodical way through that process of understanding your why, looking at what your niche is, helping with all the tech and the planning and the selling and the mindset. It was just exactly what I was looking for. And I can't thank you enough. You gave me the springboard to get to where I am now.
And I love that you started your business at age 57, because I'm sure that's a huge motivation for so many people that end up putting it off, wanting to start, and then thinking, oh, I've left it too late. But actually, you have never left it too late.
There's no such thing, absolutely. I've got a notion to write a book one day, and it's going to be called It's Never Too Late.
Amazing. So, taking you back to the painful time, I guess, of the first year of your business, what was most helpful? How did it feel? Tell us more.
What was really helpful? It was all helpful, Joel, but I think what was particularly helpful was nailing that niche. Because when I joined, I had this idea, well, I can help anybody. But if you're trying to help everybody, who's going to know exactly what it is that you're doing? And I met with an ex-colleague and I was supporting her with an issue that she had, coaching her through that. And she said, you've got all that experience. you're made to support HR. And it was like a light bulb moment. And, I brought that back into the program and I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I think that moment of clarity around who am I speaking to? It just helps with everything, because otherwise it's just some scattergun. You're just shouting into the void, really, if you don't nail that niche. So that was really helpful, that part where you were getting us to think about who are you talking to? And then the universe just invited that individual into my life, and it was like, bang, this is it. And it just felt so right. Once I had that feeling of, right, this is who I'm speaking to, and we did the whole process of working through our why and our values as well. Then it's the practicalities of, you actually need to sell to people. But I liked that idea that you switched it. You're not selling, you're serving. Because that, it was a bit of a blocker for me at first. And I think it is for a lot of people. We're not salespeople. But if we can switch that round to think about, we're serving our clients, it takes that pressure away. So that was really helpful as well, just getting all the guidance and how to pitch that as a serve rather than a sale. And then, of course, all the tech. Oh my goodness. I think I remember phoning you one night and saying, I'm really sorry. I know it's quite late in the day, but I'm having a meltdown over this. I think it was trying to set mailing line up to do my first funnel. I mean, it's really funny when you look back now and you think, oh, get a grip. What were you having a melt? Go a walk and calm down and come back and sort it. So yes, every step along there was helpful. The marketing part as well. I remember that Seth Godwin video. It's amazing, isn't it, how particular things really, really resonate. And it was like the chocolate. Often when you're starting out, you're comparing yourself to other people and you're saying, they are so experienced and they've nailed the market. Where is there room for me? So that was a real lesson for me, that yes, but nobody's Lorraine Eivers, and nobody does it like Lorraine Eivers, and there's space in the world for Lorraine Eivers to coach in her unique way, and the clients that want to work with Lorraine Eivers will find Lorraine Eivers. So that was really a powerful moment for me as well.
Gosh, that's amazing to hear that even 4 years on, you still remember that super short video. So if you're wondering what we're talking about, it's a market positioning video which shares that there are hundreds of bars of chocolate out there. Dawn says, isn't that luxury? I'm trying to think of a luxury chocolate bar. Hotel Chocolat. There we go. Hotel Chocolate comes in. So there's room in the market. If you can find your place and figure out, where are you trying to position yourself? Who are you helping? What end of the market are you going for? What are your differentiators? Then you can find your position in the market. So loved hearing that, Lorraine. And thinking back to those early days, I remember resistance over something you're now brilliant at. So I'm wondering how you overcame it. So the resistance to posting on LinkedIn, because obviously you'd been off sick from work for a long time. Then suddenly here I am saying, right, we need to tell people about your business. And it was a really scary moment. Can you think back to that and think about how you managed to make that transition and what's made you so successful on LinkedIn now? Tell us, how many connections do you have on LinkedIn now, or followers?
Over 9,000.
Way 9,000. And I bet you had hardly any when you
I think I
started.
had 80 when I started.
So yeah, tell us more about that transition, because I know that's a huge barrier for lots of people.
Yeah. So whilst I'd been on LinkedIn since 2014, it was simply for posting adverts for my company, or, having a little nose when I was thinking about even myself. Never posting. I literally was like this, posting my first post. And it was about me leaving and starting out. And the response was amazing. Like people from 30 years ago coming in and they're like, oh my goodness. So I think it gave you a little bit of a boost that actually people do remember you and they're making comments about working together, etc. So that was nice that the first ever post got a good response. And then I think you took us through that gentle, remember the 30 days to market. So you were doing that in that first cohort with us without really calling it that. So saying, let's just start by telling people who you are, what you're about, and how you can help them. And I was terrified for a long, long time. I kept the consistency. I kept doing it until at one point it just felt, wow. And then you see your followers growing as well. And, the support that I got from the coaching community and from the HR community was just lovely. Coming from that cutthroat corporate toxic at times, it was so nice to have that love and support around you. So that helped. And being consistent and listening to what was being advised, you're not sell, sell, sell. You're a mix of being your authentic self. And it was hard for me because I wasn't in social media either. So actually to talk about myself, my husband, our life felt a bit alien. But now it's just second nature. People buy from people and they want to know what is happening in your life. I mean, I lost my cat, that, and I just felt the need to post, and oh my goodness, it's had about 30,000 hits. It's unbelievable. And yeah, now it's just second nature. And I actually found a love for writing. I really enjoy, I started a newsletter and I do that faithfully each month. I've got my email list and I enjoy writing blogs and newsletters. So yeah, I found a creativity, Jo, that I didn't even know I had.
Yeah. Love it.
And then obviously went on to do the journals as well. And I have to thank you for that as well, because I don't know if you remember, the first gift that you ever gave me in the business of coaching was a gratitude journal. And it wasn't something that I did. Obviously, I expressed gratitude, but I didn't actually write in a gratitude. And I just found it when I was tidying my new office. I found that journal. So you introduced me to gratitude journaling, and I have faithfully done that for 4 years, and then went on to produce my own, because I was gifting gratitude journals to my clients, and I thought, actually, I can't find something that really works for me. I put a request to say, anybody know one where you can do it maybe at night as well as morning? And people said, make your own. I thought, gosh, I've just done one for job searchers. Absolutely, why don't I? So have you to thank for that as well, that I know the author of two journals.
Yeah, I love it. I still gift a gratitude journal when people join my program because it had a huge impact on me when I started my business as well. Because I think it's really hard to look for what went well. And also, I heard that you can't be in fear and be grateful at the same time. And therefore, if we can move you into gratitude, you will be able to keep going a lot longer than somebody who is just in the fear most of the time, which business building does bring up for us, as we know.
Absolutely. And, it doesn't take it away. There's moments, I'll be honest, I've never once thought about going back to a 9 to 5 job, but there is times when I've thought, "Oh, what am I doing? This is hard." But having that daily gratitude really does. It's a game changer. It really is.
Totally. So tell us more about what's changed in your life then. So from being signed off work sick 4 years ago when you started the program, you were still employed, signed off sick, and obviously
Mhm.
prepping for your next chapter. Tell us more about what life looks like now, what your business looks like now.
So I've had since then, I was very lucky. I had paying clients very quickly after the business of coaching. It was actually an exchange of energy, and very quickly started increasing my prices, more than double from what I started out. And I think that's knowing your worth and making sure that you're feeling that and expressing that in the offer that you are providing and the prices you are charging as well. So that has steadily increased. I have had a steady flow of clients. I think at first I was pitching at all levels, and now I've niched down further out. I tend to work with HR leaders, so it's head of HR director, chief people officer tends to be at that level now. And I'm very lucky that I get referrals from clients and referrals from other coaches, because I think we talked about this, that there's probably a perception out there that we're all in competition with one another, and it's anything but. This year, as you know, I've moved country and house. So my business has taken a bit of a back seat this year, and it's had to because of renting and selling and buying and all of that. And this year, I've had repeat clients come to me. I've had referrals from clients and quite a few referrals from other coaches. So whilst I wasn't posting as much, advertising as much, the business has been steadily ticking over because for built up that reputation, established myself enough over the years that it keeps ticking along just nicely.
Yeah, totally. You've done the groundwork and now you can reap the rewards as such. So, if we're talking to a coach who may be listening slightly earlier in their journey, so you're 4 years plus in now, what advice would you give to your former self or to that person listening?
Have faith in yourself. You've had an itch to start this business, so go with that. But don't try and do it all yourself. You need to reach out, you need to build a network, you need to get support, and you need to invest in yourself. Uh, And I have obviously sent people your way that I've worked with who went on to become coaches, because what you provide is a great foundation for people to springboard, and then they can go off and do other specialist training. So, like I did, I went and did burnout awareness coaching, I did my NLP. So, I'm constantly investing in myself. But I think my advice would be get that foundation training there to understand what is necessary to build a business. It's like building the foundations of a house. They have to be solid to take you. Otherwise, you're just scrambling about, buying the next shiny thing, thinking this is going to be the answer to everything. So, yeah, get your foundations, believe in yourself, build your network, and ask for help.
Yeah, totally. And it's something you've done super well. And now reflecting back, it's, fair enough, the business training has been game changing for you. But I think doing it together increased your confidence enough to be able to actually implement the training, because there's lots of short courses you could do, but it's really hard if you haven't got that sort of love and support to encourage you to do it. And so you can come back and know that you're safe, you're secure enough to keep implementing.
Yeah. And I've kept that up, Joe, made sure that I've had accountability buddies and co-work every Monday and alternate between Lee, who's in South Africa, and Sarah. Actually, it helps keep me accountable. When I work with Sarah, for instance, I always do my email. This is why I've joined your latest program, The Practice, because whilst I had a life-changing year last year, when I saw what you were offering, I thought, that's exactly what I need. It's something where I have to come and be accountable and where I can have that co-working and that community. So I'm looking forward to starting that next week.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be a game changer. And I love that we can then feel supported for the full 12 months, like versus short things. I just know it's going to be amazing. So we'll probably have another call in 12 months' time and see what's changed. So, what would you say is your biggest takeaway from the Business of Coaching program?
It's quite hard to pinpoint one particular thing because, as I said, that nail in the knee, that understanding about the market, support with the tech, that was a big thing for me. It's a really tough one, Joe, because I honestly, they're the three things for me. It's the niche, the market worth, and the understanding the tech. I have to have three.
That's absolutely fine. So, tell us what's next for you.
Okay, so I also joined your Elevate program because, and this is something I think I'd quite like to say to aspiring coaches and early coaches. You can get caught up in should. And I think I found myself caught up in should. I was successfully delivering my signature program, my career clarity, and people were saying, you could be doing that to lots of people. So I was caught up in I should be running a group program. And I came along to the Elevate and I got a lot from it because it wasn't just the group program, it was a digital program as well. And after it, I realized I had such resistance, and it was because it was the should. Other people were saying it. I wasn't feeling the love for it. So I decided, no, not what I want to do. And I think another should was, oh, you should be at your desk. When you've come from that corporate world, that you've got to hustle. You've got to be at your desk every day. And so it's when I realized I'm getting caught up, I'm not living my values here. And as soon as I stopped the shoots and released myself from that, it was like a big weight lifted off me. And my business probably improved because I was working less and bringing that ease into my life. Part of the Elevate was obviously looking at a digital program. So that's what's next for me. So Q1, my goal is to create the Gain Career Clarity as a digital program. And I'm looking to do it as a DIY, but also a VIP edition as well, where you would have the accountability session with me at the beginning and then a review at the end. So that's the plan. Started the research and networking with other coaches that have already done likewise. And I'm working with a VA as well. So she's supporting me with that. So that's for Q1. And as I said, I do want to write a book, but it's further down the line because we have masses to do in this house here. And I think It's about being realistic. There's no point in setting yourself big goals that you just can't meet. So the book is in the future, and I've got an outline and all of that there, but the time will be right. I will know the time when I can sit and focus on that. And then otherwise it's just carrying on working one-to-one, because that's what I enjoy. That's where I feel I serve my clients best.
It's been great also to see you so involved in other HR communities and have made so many amazing connections online. Tell us more about how you managed to get into those kind of networks and rooms.
So the first thing I did was an online HR event. I won't say what it was called because I'd have to swear, but anyway, I think everybody knows. Where the F is my oxygen mask. That was what it was called. And that was a big deal for me because I think you remember, I used to stand in front of hundreds and hundreds of people in the corporate world, but the very thought of presenting to people after going through burnout, I was terrified. So to actually do that online to a couple of hundred people was a big deal for me. And then I pushed myself after that. So I was part of the CIPD and I got involved with the local branches and I did a few presentations there. I went along to Glasgow University to the postgraduate students and presented there, step by step, getting myself out my comfort zone and joining some great networks and going along to conferences in London and various other places. I flew back this year. I went to the conference in Bristol, hosted a table there at the Evolving HR event, part of that environment. That's where my client group is as well. It makes sense to be part, but it's not just this is where I get business. It's genuinely that support and community that create within there as well.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It feels like you've been a client for 4 and a bit years, even though there's obviously been periods where you have been a client and periods where you haven't been a client. So thank you so much for being amazing and supporting me and my business in return for me supporting you and your business. Would you recommend the program? And if so, who to?
Oh, I can't recommend the program highly enough, Jo, and absolutely to people who are thinking about moving into coaching or those that are in their early stages. And also I realise that even people who are quite established that have maybe lost their way a bit, it's actually really helpful for people. So the 3 different stages, I think it really works for all of them.
Yeah, it's evolved a lot as well over the last few years to attract in established coaches as well as newer coaches because the markets have changed so dramatically. And now we might want to learn more about different types of marketing, how to use AI, how to create your own AI bots. Like there's so much that's changed, and I'm always updating the program. It's just been redone recently, actually in September, to completely up level as well. So like you say, it really still everything I want in my business as well right now, because you do get to go on your own path and ask your own questions. Thank you so much, Lorraine. I'm sure lots of people will be inspired by your journey. Any parting words if someone's leaving today? What would you want to take with them?
Go for it. It's never too late. Believe in yourself. Create your community. Get that support around. Ask for help. You can do it.
Love it. What an amazing way to finish. Thank you so much, Lorraine. I hope you gained as much as I did from hearing Lorraine's lessons over the past few years of building her coaching business. There are so many gems, and reflecting back on what I've seen and learned from Lorraine over watching and being part of her journey, it's about building relationships and building real connections. That is something that she has really prioritized in her business. She hasn't made it all about her. She has genuinely built huge collaborators So I hope you gained a lot from listening. And if you'd like this kind of support to build your business, this is what I provide in my Business of Coaching program. You will find the link to the details in the show notes. The next start date is Tuesday, the 3rd of February, but you can join right away and get access to the program before your start date as well. I would love to make the journey easier and quicker and much more supported along the way. And like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lot with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend, and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly, and try.